What's going on, everyone? It's Bales, and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Trade Talk video ahead of the final bye week of the season in round 15. These buys have been frustrating for a lot of coaches, and there's been a lot of interesting scores across these 4 weeks. Obviously, we've seen the midfielders have been very hit and miss, and this is going to be the toughest week of the buys as well. I'm seeing some people are going to struggle to get 18 on the park this week with red dots and people on buy and rookie. All the popular rookies have been on the round 15 buy that we've brought in. So hopefully you guys have planned well and you guys have at least 18. Hopefully you've got 19 plus. Because it could be an interesting week. If you're playing really well, this could be a week where you do see a big rise in your ranking. But it could also be, if you haven't planned, you could see your rank slide, potentially in a big way, if a lot of teams around you have planned well. I've currently got 20 as it stands. That's including like a Jai Clark, who, is he going to be named? He played pretty well before the bye against Sydney. He wasn't the sub, but could he be the sub again? There's a chance he could. So the hope is that he's not. I don't know if Dangerfield's going to be back. I should have probably checked that. But if he's back, then that might be me down to 19. And the good thing is I think I've got 17 capable scorers. Tom Power being then number 18, which the way he's been going, not sure what I'm going to get. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all goes. But let's get stuck into most trading out players, as we always do, then the top 5 targets and all that jazz. But if you are enjoying the content around here, please smash a thumbs up on the video. We didn't quite hit the goal last week of 250 likes. So I'm going to put it to you guys again out there watching right now. If we can get 250 likes on this video, that's the goal. Make sure you smash a big thumbs up on the video. Was it like one in every 4 people that watches one every 8 people. Yeah, one every 8 people. If they smash a like on the video, you get about 2K. Make sure you hit a thumbs up on the video. And also make sure you subscribe. We're only 45 subscribers away from 2.5K. Decent, a pretty big milestone there as well. So obviously we're on our way to 3K, but 2.5K is the next big goal. 45 subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet and you are watching right now, make sure you subscribe and get involved and help us reach that goal. It'd be fantastic to hear it this week. But yeah, let's get stuck in. So Zach Merrett is the most traded-in player of the week. It is interesting seeing a premium player being the most traded-in, but it's for good reason. Nearly 10K jumping on as a time recording, and I can see why. Merrett, he's been great this year. He's down in price at 898K due to those back-to-back poor scores he had. Was it around 7 and 8? As we just go to his match stats here. Around 9 and 10, sorry, where he had the back-to-back sort of tagged sort of games. And he hasn't put up, and the reason he's dropped in cash, he was over $1 million after here. But he dropped down because he went 87-7, but then he went on 109, 115, and 100. So he hasn't put up that 120, 130 that stopped his cash going down, which has meant that he's now priced at 898K. Break-even's 109, so he's not going to go down much more, if at all. But he's got a good run coming up. He's got West Coast this week at Marvel. Sounds like Dom Sheed's not going to be playing this week, so I don't know who would actually go with Merrett this week. He's had a good record against Eagles as well, and I'm pretty sure behind the captains. Obviously, I'll do that video tomorrow, and you'll see where he lands in my top 5. Then he's got Geelong, Collingwood, Melbourne, Adelaide, St Kilda, and even Freo. Like, that's a pretty nice run up until round 22, where he finishes with Gold Coast, Sydney, and Brisbane. So tricky finish to the year, but I think Merritt's such a good player that you're just going to keep him through anyway. So I think he's a really good target. He's someone I'm going to be really looking at bringing into my side this week, because he's one of the best midfielders going around, and he's dropped in price, and he's pretty cheap. So for what we know Merritt can do, so I like him. Very interesting seeing a player on buy that's up here. But Ari Schoenmaker is the next most traded in player, 5.3K. I think the reason for that is just the lack of rookies. We don't have a lot of rookies. We've got a Carl Warner, who you can see just at the bottom of the page there on the screen. You've got a Bailey Laurie, if he gets named for Melbourne. You got just said Carl Warner. Then you got a Clay Hall if he gets a debut this week for the Eagles, with Tim Kelly and Dom Sheed both looking like not going to play. I think they might have even been confirmed out actually. So it's guys like that, and then it's like there's not much. Like Jack Hutchinson, he's got a 28 in his first game. Like, are we really jumping on him? Like, we might have to. I don't think Cooper Simpson will be named. Like, there's not really. Like Toby Pink is like 280 or something, and he's not going to be a big scorer, or he might be a little bit less than that. He's not going to be a big scorer, but we might have to go there just with the lack of rookies. So, but people that don't have a show maker are probably looking at, well, instead of going Toby Pink for more expensive, why don't they get Showmaker is going to be a better cash cow, and Toby Pink's not going to count your best 18 anyway. He's going to score a 40. It's going to drop off. Unless you've only got 17, then obviously 40 points is better than nothing. But yeah, so I don't mind bringing in a Showmaker if that's the only rookie you can get to. But if like a Laurie or someone gets named and they're not the sub, or even a Clay Hall, I'd rather jump on them this week and get a player that's playing and bring in Showmaker next week. But if you got 20, 21 or even more and you didn't jump on Showmaker last week, I think you can jump on him this week. Normally we don't, but rookies I think are a little bit different. Christian Salem, next on this, 5.2k. I like it a fair bit as well. He's got North and West Coast, 2 of his next 3 as well. Petrarca's out for the remainder of the season, unfortunately, obviously, with that really bad injury, and hopefully he's recovering and going okay. But yeah, I think Salem, he might get some CBAs throughout this point, but I just think with the good matchups coming, he's going to see. I heard Liam talking about it on the Hat Chat pod when I was listening to it last night. And he was saying that he reckons Salem will pick up those transition points through the middle of the ground that Petrarca would get, or at least get a slice of that. And I agree. I think it's a really good point by Liam there, and I think that he will get some of those points. So yeah, Salem for me is a good option. A good price as well, 706k. He has a break even of 49. So he's got a bit of cash potentially to make there as well, but also put up some good scores in the medium term there at a decent price, and you can hold him for like maybe a month or so until like round 20, then you might be able to flick him and go and get a top 6 defender or whatever. So I like Salem as an option if you're shopping around his price. Sam Walsh is next on the list, 3,500, jumping on him. Same with Merritt, just a good option. He's just consistent. One of the top sort of few midfielders there. Has put up a couple of lower scores lately with a couple of tag-affected games there. I'm pretty sure he got tagged by one of the Bombers boys. It was like a Caldwell or Durham or something was running with him. I can't remember which one. Only the 79. 4 free kicks against as well, which on another day he's not giving away that many. He's just given away 7 free kicks in his last 2 games actually, which is interesting. But 4 in that game, clearly season high there. And only 72% game time as well. So that's actually, looking at that, that's quite interesting actually, looking at that. 4 free kicks and only 72%. Not sure why for the low game time, but he's got a nice run coming up. Geelong, Richmond, back-to-back is pretty nice. Giants could be a bit tricky. Same with Bulldogs. Then he's got North Melbourne, which is good. Port, he already scored a 133 against, and a pretty good end to finish the year. So, he's going to be someone we're going to want in our team by the end of the year. And if you've already got like a Zach Merritt, I think Walsh is arguably your next best premium mid to be considering. Connor Rosie, 3.3k jumping on. He's cheap, 712k. He does have a 130 break even. And he does have Jared Berry potentially this week. The good thing is, like Butters got off of his suspension. So there is a chance that Berry goes to him. And then he's got St Kilda next week. So it's just interesting because you don't know where the tag's going to go. But after that, he's got a pretty clean run. Bulldogs, Gold Coast, Richmond, Carlton. I think Chincotta will run with Butters. Did Chincotta run with Butters? I think Chincotta ran with Butters last time and it worked. So I think they'll do that again. And then even James Jordan, I think, would run. We ran with who would James Jordan run with at Port? Maybe it could be Houston, could be a Butters, could be a Rosie, could be someone. Be interesting, but that's a while away. He's just cheap. I probably want to watch another week or two. I just want to see him put up a good score first before jumping on, because he's still cheap. That puts up a good score, you still jump on him. So for me, if he's the best you can get to, he's still a guy that I think can put up good numbers, and we'll get back to it at some point. But I'd prefer if you can maybe get someone else in the time being, and then you can jump on Rosie after. But again, if that's all you can get to, still don't mind it. Alex Sexton's next on the list. He's an interesting one because Will Power's back this week from his 5-week suspension. So does Sexton keep the same role, same points and everything like that he was doing with Power out, or is he taking a slight decrease? I think his ceiling gets capped a little bit more. He might not be able to hit that 120, 130. Maybe he's capped at a 115 instead. But I still think he can be solid. I still think he'd be a 90, 95 guy for us in forward. In our forward lines. So I don't mind jumping on him at 740. He's got a low break even. What is his break even? 39. So I don't mind it. I don't mind jumping on him because he's going to make a bit more cash this week. But you could wait 1 week just to watch and then see how it goes, and you can jump on him after. But I don't mind if you wanted to bring him in. Clay Hall next. Obviously, we just got to wait to see if he gets named first. But a few people are jumping on already, anticipating he would get a debut. You'd think with Kelly and Sheed out, he would be a decent chance to get a debut. But we obviously need to wait. But if he gets a debut, I think he'd almost be the rookie that you want, just because he's 200k. And if he's not the sub, and you get confirmation of that. The good thing is if Laurie gets named as well, Laurie plays first. If Laurie's named sub, I've been waiting to let that out. I'll try my best, but there we go. Anyway, we'll continue. But yeah, Clay Hall. If Laurie's not the sub, I think I'd jump on him first and then get Clay Hall next week. But if Laurie's a sub, then obviously you can look at a Hall on the Sunday as well. And then even Carl Warner plays on the Sunday, who is next tied with Zorko there. But yeah, Zorko, he's got Port this week. Tough matchup. If you've already got a Heaney and a Flanders, you could jump on Zorko this week, even in a tough matchup, because you're going to need him at some point. And with 3 trades, it does make it easy to get to him. But you're obviously not going to get that same sugar hit that you were going to get last week. So, I still think he's fine to bring in. And pay up for him because he's going to be a top 3 forward. Carl Warner, yep, I don't mind paying for him if we don't get any rookie options at all get named. What's he price? He's 319. 71 last week. Chapman wasn't there, and the only 2 games he's played is when Chapman has been out. So I don't know if he'll hold his spot just with Chapman potentially coming back. If Chapman's not named, I think he'll hold, but it would just be interesting to see if he's named or not. So yeah, Warner, an interesting one, and someone we can consider if he's named. And Jai Caldwell's the 10th most traded in. I like it. I'm looking at a guy like Jai Caldwell this week. 2,500 are doing the same. West Coast this week, I read out Merritt's run. Caldwell's got the exact same run. I think he's going to be a top 6 forward. Parrish is still a month away, and Caldwell's just playing really well. And you keep hearing Eston sort of coming out of the club internally. He's rated really, really highly and very important to them. So when you're hearing stuff like that, that's only good. And I just think in a forward line that's lacking at that F5, 6, 7, 8 position, I think Caldwell's a pretty safe bet to round out your forward line. So I like him there. A few other players here. Goulden, yep, love it. He's expensive, but he's arguably M1 at the moment, the way he's performing, and he's just been really consistent. Really since I brought him in, he's been consistent all year. Like he had that 83 against Richmond early, which was obviously Sydney's own loss, and a very weird score. But outside of that, he's gone out look 111, 117, obviously the 83, 127, 100, 120, 98, 95, 116, 119, 151. The 98 was against the Giants in the wet. And the 95, he gave away 6 free kicks, which you can clearly see he's not a guy that gives away a lot of free kicks, and he gave 6 away. So it just shows he never comes off as well. He's always on the ground, always putting out good scores as well. So if you can afford it, I really do like it. Flanders, obviously, same with Zorko, but I'd be more keen on Flanders if you don't have either. Flanders is a good option. I know a lot of people have got him, though. I guess maybe a few people that traded him out when he was out that week, maybe are trying to get him back in, and I'd be trying to get him in. Bailey Laurie is obviously, if he plays and he's not the sub, is a good option at 216, 2.3k, I think. Shout out to John Nichols as well on Twitter, who actually tweeted at Fantasy Fanatics account early in the week, and he was saying that Laurie and Tholstrup were training with the A's, and Laurie was actually training with the mids with Salem. So, but I probably should have mentioned it with Salem before. But interesting, and we'll see if Laurie gets named. But if Laurie's named, I think he's just an easy get for your forward line on the bench, and will potentially put up an okay score this week against North. McKercher, if he gets named, I think he's not a bad option. He's under 600k. We saw in those 3 games that he put up some good scores. Just go here to match stats. He put up 3 really good scores when that role shifted and when Sheasel sort of went more into the forward line where 109, 99 and 88. So he put up 3 good scores and he's got a good run coming up as well, like Melbourne and Bulldogs back-to-back. Bulldogs have been a bit iffy in matchups, but Melbourne's pretty good as well. I was actually thinking he for a second I thought he had West Coast Con, but they just played. That's why he hasn't played for a while. But a couple of good matchups to come. I don't mind it. And if you can even make it work as a 23rd premium, I don't even mind that sort of play. If you're in a luxury position and can make that work. Gawn, yep, good option as well. He's expensive, but if you can afford him, great. Lockie Whitfield as well. I don't know. I wouldn't get him this week. He's got Sydney, but potentially in a couple of weeks. I think he might have like a Gold Coast next week, and then he's got Carlton. So I'd wait till after that Carlton matchup. So he's got the Crows, then he's got Carlton. But after that, I'd target him in round 18. I just think tag here. Ben Keys could even go to him in this game here, and then you've got Chincotta here. So I'd probably wait for 3 weeks, and then I'd look at targeting him for this run home here, which looks pretty nice on the face of it. So, I think he's still a good option, but probably not this week. Worst case, I think I'd go next week. And then Elliot Yeo is interesting. I don't know if I'd go there, but he's at a decent enough price that you could potentially take a punt and look at him. Most traded out players. Let's go to this now. So this week, again, these are normally pretty quick to trade outs in the trade talks after the first sort of 4, 5, 6 rounds. Just because, and especially buys, because a lot of them are obvious. But like Jack Steele's probably an interesting one you can probably have a bit of a discussion about. It sort of depends where your team's at. I still think if you've got rookies on the field and you still need to fix them, I'd be trying to hold Steele if you can. There is a play where going him down, if we don't get rookies, going him down to someone like a Salem and making cash that way. If that gets a rookie off the field, you could look at something like that. I'm in a position where I do have my own rookies on the field, and I'm looking at trading him just because he's just been very, very average, bar 2 games since round 6. So, and that's saying something. That's a fair portion and a fair sample size that he's just not quite getting it done. Like, awesome start the year. 108, 120, 124, 131, 122. That's great, right? But since then, he's gone, since the 87 he got against the Bulldogs, 72, 100, 131, 77, 122, 96, 84, and 74. He's only had 2 scores above 100 points, above that 100 that he got in round 8. And every other score's been below. And it's not like he's getting these 90s. He's getting 70s and 80s. Like, we're talking about Clayton Oliver's an issue, and he's at 740 odd K. He's 852. Like, I don't know. He's got a couple of tricky matchups as well. Port Adelaide and Sydney after the bye as well. If he shows a couple of good scores here, we could jump back on against the Crows, and he's got a decent run for the rest of the year. But I just don't know. I'm still 852. I think you can do a lot with that cash going him down. So if team's in a good spot, I'd be happy to trade. But again, as I said, if you got rookies, I'm still fine holding still, because he's still averaging 103 and he can still put up some good scores. So it's team dependent for that one. Joel Frazier, yep, he's a trade out. I think 6.1k jumping off. He's 410k. His break even is nearing his average. If it's not already at his average, I haven't actually seen his break even this week. Still 39. He's going to make minimal more cash unless he pumps out an 80 or a 90, which he hasn't shown he's going to do that. And also, Caulfield's listed as a test. Whether he comes back to the VFL or the AFL side, I don't know. Johannesson's only a couple of weeks away, and he might have a game or 2 at VFL, but Frazier might not be there after the bye, just with a few names coming back. So for me, I think he's a trade out. You go him down to a lorry, pocket yourself nearly 200k, and that can get you the upgrade you want. Darcy Wilson on bye. Yep, time to go. McAuliffe's on bye, and he's been subbed the last couple of games. Time to go. Jeremy Sharp is probably the one that's interesting, because he's the only one on this list at the start that's not on bye, but he does have a break even of 125. And he's got a 15 last week from 87% game time, which is not good enough. Dropped 36k, and he's going to drop more cash this week. So if you've got more than 19 players playing this week, I'd be happy to trade a Jeremy Sharp. But if you've only got 17 and you need an extra player, you've got to keep him, I think. It is team dependent how many numbers you've got, but I'd be happy to move if you've got enough players this week. McRae can go. He's on bye and he's just not getting it done as a top 6 forward. Sullivan can go. He's done his job, and you can downgrade him and make some cash like Frazier. Bonner can go. He's put up 3 really bad scores back to back to back, so he's time to go as well. He might not even be there post-supplies with Sean Maker playing well. Day costs, you just hold. I wouldn't be trading any sort of top line premiums if you can. And I know Steele is probably a bit like that, but I don't know if Steele we'd probably view him as a top line premium at the moment just because of the lack of scoring he's doing. Whereas Dacos a top 3 defender, so for me, I wouldn't be trading. Gallagher can go. Tom Powers, again, the same with Sharp. If you've got more than 19, you can trade. You can because he's not. He's putting up bad scores. He's only had 2 scores below 70. But he didn't look great on the weekend. If Simpkin comes back in and Will Phillips holds, that's bad news for Power. But yeah, I think if you've got enough numbers, he can go. But if you need him, you keep him for a week. Day can go. It's his buy. It's sort of if you can go him up to a merit, I'd tick that off if the rest of your team's looking good. Butters isn't on bye and he isn't suspended. He's playing this week, but a potential Berry and then a Windhager tag. Again, if you've got over 20 players, if you've got like 19, 20 or more playing, and he's the only way you can get a Merritt or a Walsh, and you've got your rookies on the field, you could potentially look at trading. But I think he's less of a trade than what a Powell and a Steele are, I think. Even though Butters is a little bit light still in terms of he's dropping cash, he's getting to a cheap price where potentially non-owners might even look at him. He's 4 more K, I think, more than Steele. But he's only averaging 100 for the year, and he started well, but his last couple, 86, 74, and 67 is not great. He's been tagged in a few of those, and it's worked. So I think more tags are going to start coming because teams know that it's going to work. So, yeah, I think you could trade Steele. Campbell can go, and then a Saligo can go as well. So all these guys on bye, they can all go. It's simple as that. And then the guys that aren't on bye, it is team dependent. Well, not all guys on bye, that can go. The top lines you want to keep, but the guys like rookies and mid-prices and really underperforming premiums can all go on their buys. But the rest of them you probably want to keep. My top 5 targets for the week for round 15. So I think at number 1, I do have the most trading player in Zach Merritt. I just think he's got a good run, good price. Time's right to bring in a Merritt. We know that Merritt can go on big runs. He hasn't put up a massive score yet this year, like a 140 plus. And I think it's only a matter of time before he does. And it could be this week. So I think it's a good week to jump on him. Number 2, I've currently got, it's a tough one. I've probably still got Errol Goulden, if you can afford him. Still, I think a lot of people jumped on him last couple of weeks, but I still think he's a good target. I know he's got the Giants, which is a tricky matchup. I just think that he's in such good form, and with these mids that are struggling, when you got a guy like him that's putting up these big scores week after week, he's playing such high time on ground. I think he's a good bet to bring in if you don't have him. So if you can pay up for him, I like him. Number 3, I probably would have Sam Walsh next on that list just because of the fact he's got a good next couple of games. He might get tagged this week. That's my only flag of not having him at number 2. I would have Merritt over him. And it's going to be interesting to see if he does cop attention. But I just think his run home's pretty good. So I like Walsh there at number 3. At number 4... I'm going to put Jai Caldwell there. I'm going to put Jai Caldwell at number 4. And the reason I'm going to put him at number 4 is because I just think we'd parish out for a month, lack of forwards. You've got your top 3, and then you sort of almost can try a blanket over maybe 4 or 5 names. And I think Caldwell's one of them, and I think he could be a guy that could be as high as F4 on the run home. I've still got Fisher there and maybe a Sexton above him, but I've got Caldwell in my top 6. So, for me, Caldwell, I like as an option. So if you want to go there, I've got him at number 3. At number 4. So, was it number 4? Crap, now I've forgotten this. So Merritt 1. Yeah, Merritt 1, Goulden 2, Walsh 3, Caldwell 4. And then number 5 to round it out, I'm going to put Salem there at number 5. I just think North and then West Coast in a couple of weeks' time as well. Really good matchups. He's a good price. I think I'd be going him over a Rosie at the moment just because lower break even. He's got some cash to make, and there's going to be more added responsibility for him now that Petrarca's out. So, they're probably my top 5, and it is team dependent. Like, it is a bit harder to do the top 5 targets just because teams are in such different positions. Maybe the best they can get to is a Salem, so maybe he might be their number 1. Maybe some people haven't got a Heaney or haven't got a Flanders or haven't got a Gorn or whatever, and they're probably almost better targets just because of how good they've been this year. But in terms of the ones that a lot of people looking at this week, I'll probably go those top 5 there. So In terms of my trades this week, what I'm currently looking at doing, I've pretty much been solidified on these trades from probably Monday. So I'm looking at going a Joel Frazier down to a Bailey Laurie. If he gets named, he's not the sub. And if not, I'll just bring in another rookie. So that's what I'm looking at doing with that. Then I'm looking at going a Riley Bonner to a Jai Caldwell by switching Fisher as my D6 and putting Jai Caldwell in my forward line. And then I'm looking at going Jack Steele up to Zach Merritt. I just think, the Merritt, doing Steele to Merritt is luxury, but I think it's a good move. I've got enough. Because I've got my rookies on the field, and because I'm trying to push for that top 100 spot, I feel like I need to try and be aggressive and try and get as many high-scoring players on the field this week as possible to keep up with those top guys and hopefully make up some ground this week as well. So, with the 20 playing and a lot of those being decent enough scorers, hopefully a few of those guys can put up some good scores, and I can claw my way back towards the top 100. Sorry, I was going to say top 500, but we're already there, thankfully. Hopefully we don't fall out this week. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you guys are doing with your trades this week. And as always, if you've got any trade questions, leave them in the comments below. But if you also do have a question and would like to ask me a question on Q, then hit me up at askmeonq.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics. That's obviously spelt with a Q and then a U for there. So just hit me up there. You get a personalised answer to you straight to your email. It's audio, so I can give you more an in-depth sort of answer about what I could do, and it's more in-depth than what I could do on like YouTube comments or as an individual message, like through typing and stuff. And it's all team-dependent stuff. You can send through your whole team. You can ask specific trade questions. You can ask draft questions, anything that helps you there, but also does help support the channel there as well, because there is a small fee there. But if you'd like to do that and help support the channel, but also get an in-depth answer for your question, then make sure you hit up there. But if not, we're doing a pre-lockout chat where you can ask your questions there on Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Per time as well. So make sure you guys tune to that. As always, we'll be live on YouTube and Twitter. But if you did enjoy the video, as always, as I said, 250 likes to the goal. If you can smash a thumbs up right now, that'd be very much appreciated. And also make sure you subscribe to the channel. If we could get 45 people that haven't subscribed yet to get to 2.5k by Friday or by the end of the weekend, that'd be fantastic if we can hit that goal now and push towards 3k. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure you get involved. And also follow me across all the socials as well. They're all in the description below. So I'll be back, as I said, on Friday for the pre-lockout chat. We'll also be back on tomorrow doing a captain's video again. You guys seemed to enjoy that last week. So we'll do another one again tomorrow with my top captain options for the week. And then we'll be doing our usual watch-along on Saturday, which will be... Again, I always do this. I should look at the game before we do this. Saturday night is Melbourne and North Melbourne. So, that should be a fantasy relevant game again. So make sure you guys tune into that as well. Been getting some good crowds lately in the watch-alongs, which has been really, really good. So, but yeah, thanks guys for tuning in. Good luck with your trades this week. And we'll chat to you guys again in the next video. So, I'm out. Cheers.